but we hear the inner critic in our head that agrees with shaitan. The inner critic that we've developed over the years that tells us that, yeah, exactly. That's what I've been telling you for years, that you're hopeless. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human beings with a mechanism of guilt. The purpose of guilt, having a guilty conscience, feeling bad about something that you did wrong. The purpose of creating that within human beings is so that when you do something wrong, you feel negative emotion. That emotion pushes you the next time you find yourself in that situation to avoid making that mistake. And so when you're about to repeat the mistake, you remember, man, last time I felt terrible. I'm not going to do it again. That's the purpose of it. To prevent future mistakes or repetition of the same mistake, and to push you in the opposite direction. But what ends up happening for many of us, and I'm sorry guys, this is going to be deep, this is going to be a little bit heavy for some of you, may Allah help us all. But I don't really believe in speaking on the surface. I don't really believe in talking about, flowery subjects only. I think we need to be real about some of the challenges that we face. Because only when we're being real about it, can we really face the challenges that we find in our lives and overcome them. What ends up happening sometimes for some of us is that guilt begins to grow and grow and grow. And it gets to a point where now it's no longer just guilt. It's not just remorse. Now it becomes shame. And I'll talk about the difference. See, when we talk about guilt and remorse, a healthy level of it, that's actually, according to some scholars, Al-Imam al-Nawawi and others, that's actually one of the conditions of true repentance. That for you to make tawbah, not only do you have to abandon the sin, but you have to feel some way about it. You have to feel upset that, man, I shouldn't have done that. Al-Imam al-Ghazali says that's not a requirement. Because he says that is out of your control. You can't force yourself to feel regret. And so he narrows down the number of conditions for tawbah to 3 rather than 4. But the point I'm making is, healthy guilt is a good thing. Our tradition, the Islamic tradition, is not a tradition that promotes the erasure of guilt. No, we don't want to be guiltless or guilt-free, but we do want a healthy amount. The reality is, for many of us, we don't deal with a healthy amount of guilt. We deal with shame. We deal with shame. Now, what are we talking about here? When I say guilt or a healthy level of guilt, we're talking about, hey, I made a mistake. I did something wrong. I did something bad. And shame is when you believe that I'm a mistake. I'm bad. I'm inherently flawed. And the difference is very drastic in how you proceed. See, if you did something wrong, but you're still inherently a good person, I mean, there's a chance for redemption. There's a chance for redemption. But if you're inherently flawed, to the point that you can't now come back from that, because it's not just erasing a mistake, it's like part of who you are, then yeah, there's no way back. Do you understand the difference there? If it's just a little blemish on you, you can wash it off. But if it's part and parcel of who you are, you identify with that mistake, yeah, there's no way back in your own head. There's no way back. Now, you might say, like, I don't really talk to myself about that. I don't say I identify with the mistake or something. You may not say it in those terms, but you may believe it. What's a sign of you believing it? A sign of you believing it is that when you want to start to turn back to Allah and build a relationship with Him, a voice in your head tells you, dude, who are you fooling? Who are you? Did you forget who you were?